Okay. Hello, and happy Saturday, happy first day of spring. Today is March 20th, so wow, we are pretty far on March. Hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, looks like my audio is okay. So I thought that today, since it's the first day of spring, we would do a fun little kind of green themed. I know St. Patrick's Day was pretty recent, so lots of green there. Excuse me. So I thought I would kind of do something similar to what I did last time. I drew this cat, kind of like a hunter, and I added kind of, he's a calico, and then I also kind of created a bit of green in his outfit, as well as some of the grass accents, and I don't know, I just thought he was really cute. And we're gonna do that today, the way that I kind of put together two references. And I just kept the references below me so that you can kind of see what I'm working with if you want to watch with me, and hopefully, let's see, I think everything, sorry, I'm like double checking something. Okay. What is going on? Okay. Okay, good. Sorry. I'm sorry. Technical difficulties, we're having an issue, but so far it's looking good. Okay, so I did this last time in markers, and we're going to do that all over again, but with new references. So I'm going to pull the page down, and we're just going to work with this side. This is just a little scribble. I was trying to get my pen working because I had issues. And I think I'm going to just use a new page anyway, because I realized I scribbled at the bottom. So that's fine. All right. And we're just going to start the sketch. Per usual, I hope you guys are doing well. It's the first day of spring. It's very exciting. Days are getting longer, nights are shorter, which means more time to do stuff, more time to get motivation to do stuff. I feel like when the sun goes down, I don't know. Once the sun goes down, I'm no longer inclined to do anything. I don't know why. So what I do first is that I like to map out my page and where everything goes. This is just for filming purposes because I don't want to go off my page. Okay, so what I usually do is I start with the pose, and then I work my way into doing or adding any like cat or feline, so adding a tail, adding specific types of like paws or ears or facial features. So we're just going to start with the pose as though all we're doing is we're just working on our reference. Okay? All right, and let's start. So I think what will be especially exciting is to first think of the composition. So I'm kind of getting a feel for maybe cropping this a bit so that more of her is in the frame. So I'm just going to zoom in, and if you see at this zoom in, it seems more focused on her. The further out, it is a focus on her, but this is more pointed. And I like it a bit closer because she's already a bit further away, so I don't know. And also, this little kind of blurry leaf, we can also add another blurry leaf here, and then kind of create a frame so that it's fun to look at, so that the eye kind of like peers into something. For some reason, when there's a frame, it's more interesting. I don't know what the actual logic is for that, but so far I've seen it a lot of the times when artists will make some type of frame here or at the bottom or at the top. But we're just gonna keep it to the bottom, adding maybe some foliage later. Okay, let's start on the pose. So I have my, we're just gonna map it out. So she has her head here, and she's kind of like leaning. So she has her neck out. She's kind of leaning, so her torso is like this. And then she's kind of leaning out, hand goes down. And I'm realizing that my sketch might be a little too small. So let's, even though you could barely see what was going on. Okay, so I'm just gonna extend it up. So this will be the head. Excuse me. With spring comes seasonal allergies. And I'm the queen of seasonal allergies. Okay. So, as I wanted to mention, is that we can see that there's a tilt to the figure. She's kind of leaning over, and then her torso has a slight tilt down, right? So she's kind of leaning forward, and that's the image we want to portray. And then her arm comes out, and she's kind of holding this cup here, and I think her skirt also comes out a bit. She's kind of got a pocket that she's dealing with. So we're gonna get some, so I'm gonna just map out some ears real quick so that I don't miss the top of the page. And we kind of have our line of action is kind of like this. So her chin is leaning over her other shoulder. Her torso comes out here, and then it kind of comes down. So that's kind of our pose. We're gonna make this pose a little bit more refined, but I just want like to sketch out things really roughly in the beginning, and then go from where everything is proportionally, or see where everything is. And also, something that's really useful is that I kind of did a really awful job here because I was doing a rough sketch, and I want to show you how you can get a good arm placement by looking at the empty space, or the negative space that's in the inside of her arm. This will be super helpful, as well as kind of the necklace placement, and the, you know, all the folds of the fabric and the shrubbery here. So we're gonna work on that. So I'm just doing it as I go. So she has her face, and she's kind of leaning, she's leaning out. She has her shoulder, and then her chest is about same. And we have two folds. So we have a fold of fabric, and then we have a second fold that comes out, and then we also have this bottom part of the skirt. And it appears we have a little bit of a hint of like a sleeve over here. So there we have it. And we're going to make this part better. So basically, if you can see, her neck doesn't come down completely. She has her trapeze muscle, and then she has her shoulder. So I definitely made this smaller than I should have. And that usually happens, is that the neck just doesn't come fully. And there's a shadow, but the neck kind of comes up. So her hair is definitely covering that up. And there's a neck here, and there's her neckline, And we're getting some shoulder. Okay. Let's see. So now's the time where I'm kind of thinking of the empty shape. So the empty shape we have is a triangle or a diamond shape. We have a diamond shape here, and basically it is the waist. So we have our waist about here, I think. If not, we can always change it up. But basically we have this, the arm coming down, and skirt comes down a bit. And we're gonna see if that works, if that fits well enough, or if even this arm placement is a little bit, has to come forward. So. And she's kind of holding her skirt, as you can tell. And perhaps the cup is tied to her belt. That's my guess. She has the top part of her dress, as well as this area, the collar of her dress comes to here. Perhaps it has to be a little less. And I'm just gonna draw it out. Her necklace has two kind of medallions on it, and it comes down, kind of hangs straight down. So it kind of follows the line of her body. And that's what we want. We want a bit of believability here. As you notice, the sleeve kind of pops out, and we're gonna have a lot of little folds in the fabric here. But yeah, we're just gonna work on this pose, and then hopefully once we get most of it down, we're going to do some of the face, and then we're going to do some line work, but as I go. Let's see, it's the first day of spring, and I'm marking this occasion by, after the live stream, I'm gonna go and go outside in nature for a little bit, and possibly find something good to eat if there is something good to eat. And then I don't know, I think the part of going in nature was my goal, to do something that would be you know, mark the coming of such an important time. It's definitely hard to talk while drawing. Okay. If there's something you want me to kind of mention or do, I can always mention it. I think something that I've been really kind of experimenting with or looking forward to is kind of color mapping and figuring out what colors look best and what colors don't. And I've been doing a lot of color mock-ups, which is taking color in Photoshop and just kind of experimenting, seeing what works and what doesn't. It's definitely been a challenge, because I think color is difficult. You have to think about the shadows and the lighting, and overall it's something that I didn't learn. I didn't, you know, do any of that. So, oh. But as the old adage goes, if you work with something you're uncomfortable with, you know, something that you haven't done before, you end up learning a lot. As long as you don't pressure yourself to do something perfect all at once, it's not going to be really too bothersome in the end. Okay, so I'm definitely need to do these beads a bit differently. From what I'm getting is that there's some bigger beads and some smaller beads. Now these are mostly detailed stuff, which I can definitely do later, but I see there's like a little metal plate on the other side. There we go. I love this outfit. So on Pinterest, it mentioned this outfit was some sort of like Viking wear or some Viking type clothing. To be honest, I didn't really think about it that way, but I guess it was. It's like supposed to be Viking garb. Kind of reminds me of like perhaps this isn't Viking clothing, but just like a magical interpretation of it. Just like a lot of, you know, clothing. It's like certain historical Chinese dramas will have sort of like, it's not necessarily the historical accuracy, kind of like how Bridgerton isn't really historically accurate in any way, but it's just they create certain outfits that look really interesting and look really fun. And I've been watching some people who are really into the historical, you know, accurate historical garment reenactment, and they react to these types of clothings, especially Bridgerton, because it's, you know, really, really popular lately. And they're like, oh, this hair doesn't work, or this, you know, dress doesn't work, or why is he wearing the same coat over and over again? Yeah, legitimate complaints happening over there. But I can't imagine if I actually knew stuff, if I were to watch a show like that. I feel like you would definitely have to take yourself out of it and think like, okay, this is not really what they were going for. This is supposed to be some sort of like alternate reality universe where, you know, I was gonna say alternate reality universe where, you know, minorities were really present wearing those types of clothing. I'd never seen a historical sort of show do that before. I wish there was one, like a female character that was more present, that was also a non-white character, but perhaps in the future. But there's nothing wrong with, you know, her being white. I just wanted a bit of diversity, I guess. But yeah, Bridgerton, I think the outfits look really nice, really fun. Probably not accurate at all, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we have like this belt scenario, and then we have the cup and all of that. So kind of can see where I'm going with the folds. I'm really kind of paying attention to the lines that are happening. If you ever feel overwhelmed with some type of clothing, just kind of break it up into a bunch of shapes. So think of this shape as like a triangle, think of this shape as a triangle, think of them as all just a bunch of little triangles, because that's kind of how fabrics fold. If you noticed, sometimes in animations, a lot of the shading for the fabric just looks like a very complex bunch of little triangles that are just softened. So, excuse me, sorry. And I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna just do the necklace. So I definitely messed up on the necklace. We're gonna fix that. Okay. So she has two lines. We have one that comes here, and we have one that comes out and in. So they're kind of folding onto each other. And it's small bead, big bead, small bead, small. Okay, okay. Big, small, small, big, small, small, big, small, small, big, small, small, big. Creating variety helps break it up so that it doesn't look too fake here. Even though it's not real, we're doing something different. Okay, so we have our sleeve that we have going on, and we're gonna take our hand. So hands can be complicated, but we just have to think of the shapes that we want to work with. So our hand's gonna come down. We have a couple of knuckles, but they're not as prevalent, and we have her finger, which is curving in. Okay, and it's holding, so this part of the thumb is kind of holding the fabric as well. And I think I made her bottom knuckle a little too out of the frame, so we're just gonna hold on to that. And we have our knuckle, and then we possibly have another, but the line, I'm gonna make another one. Okay, and there's a bunch of fabric. It kind of looks a little odd, but we will help with the folds. So the folds will help dictate, okay, why is the fabric bunching together? Oh, she's trying to hold it up. Basically with her other finger, it's kind of pushing through the hole. And then up here, we have the cup, which is actually probably just linked to her belt. So we're gonna do what the photo didn't do and link it. And the cup kind of is majority of the cup you can see. You can't see the inside. And it's a little big at the bottom, so I'm noticing I messed up there. There we go. Okay, and I think we've done majority of the body, so now it's time for the head. So we're gonna bring our cat. Okay, so the shape of the head is that it comes forward, and the good news is we can kind of pull the ears here and then pull the other ear about here, so that looking down, and then kind of bringing the shape of the face forward, and I think that should be okay. That'll kind of inform the back of the head, and we can modify that to how we choose. I like to keep things pretty simple in that way. And I used a hand, but you can just also make a paw. I used the hand reference. The paw would kind of just look like a soft hand, and then you would have perhaps two lines dictating where the hand is but we're gonna work on this. Okay. So cats have a really nice, cute face curve. I just think that it's extra fun, extra cute. And what happens is that their forehead comes down. They have this like nose. It's not necessarily terribly pointy, but they have the top, and then their chin is a little bit more receded than their actual baseline. So you get this really cute kind of effect. And then the nose is about here, and you get a bit of a different. So I think probably because I'm leaning a bit down, she's leaning a bit down, her visual at least looks a bit, well, I could pull it up. I could actually pull the face line up. Okay. Whoops, I threw that. Okay, so let's put the ears where we want them to. And I want to make the ears bigger than they actually are. Okay. So okay, back of the head. And then we have another ear, which is a little higher than this one. And then this part, it's like a little fold, I guess. Okay. There we go. And I think what I'm going to do is that I'm going to try to add a scarf because she does have a lot of hair, and I think I just want to make it look a bit more cohesive because it just kind of seems empty up here. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to, perhaps I can sort of maybe like add. I wonder if it's possible to add like a scarf. I guess we could also add hair if we wanted to. But I have a feeling that it would just make more sense as a scarf. I have questions. I have questions and I don't have any answers. We'll figure it out. Okay. So for now, I'm just gonna add some scruffs to the back of the head and then finish working on the face. I made the ears a bit bigger because it just makes more sense sometimes to do so. Adding in the eyes. The eyes are in the kind of like triangle shape. They come out. And she's got some tabby lines, so some lines on the face that we got going on. Some whiskers. And I just think that it might make more sense to oh, I'm so torn because then I have to think of the ears if I were to do some sort of scarf, or think of some sort of like, I guess we'll keep it all for now. I don't really know what to do because I'm thinking like, maybe I really wasn't prepared. Okay, that's okay. I'm just gonna follow. She's got big ears. Okay. And I think she has some like tabby lines as well. I think we've got a pretty good sketch going. So let me zoom out and you can kind of see. We can add some other stuff later. Perhaps I can add with my marker, I can probably add something here to make it look more believable. Okay, and let's just do the line work. I think we're basically ready. And if there's any other kind of fabric lines, we can work with it as we go. But sometimes I think it just takes me some time to figure out what works. Okay. So I think we're probably just gonna use some brown for right now. Oh, I had a brown liner actually. Let me go grab my brown liner for a second. Okay. So I have a bunch of brown liners. This is a sepia liner. It's actually just as dark as black. But I thought, oh, what the hey? We'll just use it. It's 03. And we're just gonna start lining. And I think with the background, we're just gonna wing it. So basically there's these long pieces of grass here, but they're not gonna be as in focus. So I'm gonna just do the coloring, and then I'm just gonna color this in with different, probably a different type of tone or something. And there's a bunch of these little unfocused shrubbery in the back, and I'll just use the markers to make it work. Okay, let's do some line work. All right, so I'm gonna start with her necklace actually. And with this kind of line, and it goes in. She has some sort of like pattern to this kind of breast plate kind of thing. I don't even know what these little things on the necklace are, but they kind of look like shields or different types of armor. I'm just gonna draw like a just gonna do that. Hopefully that works. I'm not entirely sure what the pattern is on the thing, but it fits in with the garment, so we're just gonna work with it. There's a new series, this anime series that is coming out that I'm really excited about. It's the House Husband series. I think it's like this guy, he used to be in a gang and or a Japanese gang, and he used to be the boss, and then now he's just a guy who is trying to make a comfortable life for his wife, who works in an office, and it's just really cute. He is up to some adventures, you know, haggling with other housewives, looking like a suspicious person, but actually he's not. He's just doing his best, and I love the series, and it's coming out on Netflix. I'm really hyped for it. It says that it's gonna come out in April. I literally can't wait. I'm so excited. Whoever is in charge of the series decided to make it as similar to the manga as possible to keep true to the kind of comedic style, because there's a lot of kind of like prank or gag humor, kind of just like funny slapstick. I think that's what gag, I don't know. There's like there's a particular phrasing for it, but essentially it's really, really, really funny, and I definitely recommend reading the comic for it. Highly recommend. I think it's just super funny because he's just such a sweet guy, and then people definitely don't think of him as being this really sweet guy, even though he's like, sometimes he yells, but he's just really funny. Okay. Oh, what happened? I think I went too much. I think I curved the hand too much. Whoops. It's okay, we fixed that a bit. Sometimes it happens. Okay. And we're gonna basically, there's these little fabric lines. All these little bumps on the shirts. So often the inside of a shirt, you'll see, will have these bumps, and they lead to little creases in the fabric. And honestly, the more you draw fabric creases, the more you'll kind of understand where they even start, and then you'll figure out where to put them in the end. So easy fabric creases, you'll be able to figure out. So like creases in the elbows or near the armpit, which is usually where the fabric kind of doesn't stay flat. It can't. It doesn't have anywhere to really go. So how can it stay flat? So it has to move, because your body moves. Your body is malleable. It has folds, and your arm bends, and there's obviously lines there too. Let's see, what else was I doing? Okay, so we're gonna do this part, I think is the collar. Okay. And I think there's like this little, yeah, I think that's the part. Sorry. So there's this part where she has like a lace-up top to it. So I just wanted to keep the lace-up top there. I'm making it so that there's some kind of space. There's a line. Her neck comes up. Her trapezus. I say trapezus because it's just a funny word, and also it's really important. And I'm gonna definitely create some darkness in certain areas near or in the sleeves. I like to just fill it in as I go. It's just super helpful for me, and some areas just flow better when they have ink on them, and it kind of makes sense that the shadow would form there. So that's kind of why I took those lines and I just kind of make some parts darker. So one thing that I want to impart on you, if you are interested in understanding, I have found that before I used to really think that the thinner the liner, the better. I don't really feel that way anymore. I think that I definitely should have used a thicker liner. I used a really thin liner, you know, in the beginning. And I really wish that I had learned that just because you're using a thinner thing to make more details doesn't mean that it's necessarily better. More details doesn't necessarily mean better either. But yeah, some details are great, and I really like it when artists add different types of details to make something even more believable. But for the case of, you know, if you're learning, just grab a thicker pen and then go for it. Do your best, but don't feel discouraged if you don't make good art. I've definitely made a lot of really bad art, and I don't want to admit to anybody but myself and you, but I've made a lot of bad art, and that's okay. So let's see, what else we got here? We have to do her. Okay, so we have her eye here. And I think what we can do is we can use the brown. So I have a brown thinner liner that I can use for the tabby. So there's sort of these like little lines on the face, can be in lighter colors. So we're just gonna keep it that way. And I figured out this, I saw this technique where someone used colored pencils to make their work more interesting, and I really want to do that. I've never seen it done before, so I was really interested in doing so. So you might end up seeing me decide today that I want to do some fun lines, or use some colored pencils to make some lines look better and some lines stand out, and to make it overall. Okay, so I have a feeling that we've done this, and I think I'm just going to be using some grain to create some background stuff. So I think I have this green liner. It's in a 1. Oh no. Are you dead? Oh no. Oh no, guys. I think my green passed away. Oh no. Oh no. Nope. She gone. Okay. Great. What can we use? Well, we'll just wing it. We don't have to line any of the background. Okay. So now I'm just gonna do some darker areas right now. Okay. Okay. And I think There's gonna be some darker areas here too. Okay. And the ear, I think. Yeah. Okay. And basically the light's coming from here. So I don't know if you've noticed, but the light's hitting her face, and the light is also hitting the top of the fabric here. I definitely made a mistake of making these a little too dark, but that's okay. We'll compensate for that. There's also going to be some area underneath her hand that's going to be dark, so we're going to fix that. And her entire clothing. So this fabric looks pretty dark. I'm gonna see if I can grab a really good shade for that. So let's see. So this is the time to get some colors out because we've kind of lined everything pretty much. I've added some darker points, but I feel like basically most of the darkness is gonna come from the dress, and then less is gonna come from the overall fabric. She's gonna be kind of like a yellow, maybe like a buttercream color. So we're gonna work with that. So I'm gonna grab my buttercup yellow, which is what I used, and I'm gonna just do some color swatches here because it'll just make more sense. So buttercup yellow will be her color. And we will take possibly honey for the darker color, and then possibly, if it's a little too much, I'll take chamois and darken those areas. So we'll just use those three for the kind of fur. We'll use those three for the fur. And for the, let's see. I think I'm just gonna take eggshell too. I'm gonna take eggshell, and we're just gonna use that for the lightest part of the face. I'm not really a fan of that, but if it's necessary, it's necessary. Okay, the dress is this brown, so I'm just kind of wondering if it's just sepia. Okay, I'm just gonna pull sepia out. So this is sepia. It definitely looks like our dress, the lightest part of our dress, possibly a little bit cooler tone. This is a warmer tone, but that's okay. Past sepia, let's see, what's darker than this sepia tone? So we have raw umber, which is BR1 from the not Copics, from this. So let's see. That's darker. That's definitely darker. Okay, we can work with this. Okay, one more thing, we need green. So what kind of nice green do we got? Okay, we have GY7 and GY4. Okay, so GY7, GY1, where's that? Oh, that's a pale green. Nope. Changed my mind. Okay. Okay, so this is for the background on the grass and potentially her front part of her dress. So we have this very light green. It matches, definitely matches this background green we got going on. We also have this yellow green, GY4. So we have this medium toned green, which actually suits pretty well, and I think it kind of matches the dress that she has going on. And then we have her sleeve. So her sleeve is in this gray. So I'm thinking we'll have is it cool gray? I think because we're using yellow, it's probably gonna be a warm gray. Okay, so this is the warm gray. Makes sense. Okay, and then we're gonna see if we have a different type of warm gray we can use. It did lighten up really nicely, so I think that'll probably be it. And then the warm gray 3. So is there warm gray 3? Yes, warm gray 3. Okay, so this is above warm gray 1. And this will be for our shadows. And I think we got it, folks. I think we got it. Okay, so we're just gonna lay down some colors and see what we got and see if we can make this work. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab sepia because I feel really confident about this color with the entirety of the outfit. So we're just gonna lay it down. There's actually a lot of pencil marks, so I'm just gonna take off some of the pencil mark. I love it. A lot of it's just gonna get covered up, so we don't have to worry too badly. And the belt is also in the sepia. Okay, so I'm just taking the sepia and putting it down. It is a bit warmer than what we got, but that's okay. I recently bought this Copic marker. Oh, it appears I've made a mistake. I took it too far. Okay. We're gonna grab a darker green. We're gonna grab a darker green, go over it, and then we're gonna grab that really bright orange, and then we're gonna go over it, and not too bad for a mess up. Okay, and then we're just gonna grab the warm gray and go over the last part. And because it's the bottom of the character, there's not too much worry about that because the bottom of the character can be darker, the top of the character needs to have some light so that it brings to the face. So we're just gonna do that. And I'm going to try this time to pay attention. And by the way, markers do bleed. So I definitely do, like when I get questions about, hey, my markers bleed, why don't yours bleed? Mine do bleed. I try to contain them with thick enough liners, as well as keeping things pretty simple, trying not to do too much of blending or doing anything else, and it works out. Okay, so this is the point where some of the foliage comes in. I would say we got some green here, so we're just gonna lay that down. We could technically just lay down the color behind it. And this is the bright green. Green is a very controversial color recently, so we're gonna keep things pretty neutral so far. These little line crevices are the most annoying, but we're gonna get through it. Okay, so we have the brown of her dress done. So I think we're just gonna go for mapping out the rest of the outfit. So we have our gray, our light gray, and I'm just gonna take off some of this pencil marks up here, as well as behind her, so we can get some color in cleanly. Okay, so we're gonna grab the gray and we're just gonna color it in. And I think this is basically her blouse we got going on. Putting down colors is always the most nerve-wracking part because it just always looks really awful at this stage. Until you actually go through with it and you change some stuff around. Okay, so now we have the, I think we have the darker, so we have the darker green. We do have the lighter green. So let's see. I wonder if I used two. No, it's okay. Okay, so then we have this green here. Okay, and we also have an orange, I think. Yeah, we have an orange on the sleeve as well. Okay, and the plate appears to be in the darker gray, so we're just gonna place that there. The cup is also gonna be in the darker gray, and the belt is also in sepia, so we're just gonna fill that in. So we have lots of stuff to fill in. And then I think her collar will also be in this green and then the orange, but I'm just gonna keep it, I didn't make the line, did I? Okay. It's my fault, so I think we're just gonna keep it green. Okay, and then underneath it will also be a lighter green, I think. This will be lighter. And some of the beads will be in the green. And some will also be in the orange. I also have another orange that looks lighter. So we're just gonna plop that on. Okay. And, oh. And time to draw or color in her tone. Okay, so I was really thinking of using this eggshell to lighten up. I think the eggshell will probably just be the lightest point that she has. So I don't think past that will make her entire color eggshell, because I think that's way too bright, but I just wanted to bring some contrast to her. Okay. So her eye color will be the darker green, and then probably take the buttercup yellow, which is this yellow, and we're gonna go like this, and that will basically be the lightest point. And she'll have mostly so it'll be like the top of the face. So around like here in the cheekbones, you'll get a light part under the jaw. You'll get some darkness, probably near the eye socket as well. We're gonna get some dark points. But these will just be the lightest because the light's coming in really strong near the face. Okay, and I hope that kind of makes sense as to why I placed what I placed, because if you see close to her neck, you have some lightness, you have some lightness near her face, on the top of the cheekbones too, and yeah, so we're definitely not done. I'm just gonna be placing the light green on the outside, and definitely get some darker green as well. And there's some blue in the sky. I am tempted to use this really light blue. Yeah, it makes sense. There we go. Our initial blue. And the blue will never come back. The blue will just be very temporary. Huzzah! Okay. So now we've used the lighter colors, I think we're gonna end up using the darker colors now to shade. We've kind of color blocked a lot of things, and I haven't shaded anything technically other than her face. So I'm gonna grab the honey color, and I'm just gonna go in and make her face and the outer part a bit darker, and then hope that it's not too bright. So that's one concern I have. So we'll see. It's a little, it might be a little too bright. But I don't think too much. Okay. Time to shade the top part of the eye. So we're just gonna kind of try to create a nice, so the top part of the eye is often darker because of the eyelid. So I like to add this darker medium green, this gray olive, which is still in this yellow tone. So, and we're gonna kind of put that in areas that I find that might be ending up a bit darker than I thought they would. So like the outside. Makes sense. Okay. So Y gray 3. These little crevices of the sleeve will be in the Y gray 3. And probably near this area too. We'll also have it on the outside. We'll be getting some. There's not much darkness on the outside of that, so we won't have to do too much, but there we have some of the shadowing there. Just gonna take this. There we go. Do a little bit more. And then also near the, okay. So now we're gonna get to the darker part of the dress. So we can see that the front of the dress is darker, or the front of the dress is lighter, and then back here is a bit darker. And these folds also have a bit of shadow. So I'm just gonna follow that. And there's some darkness here. And we have some shadow here, some shadow here. Okay. All right, we got something. And I'm gonna try my best to kind of get some of this that's near the leaves, the plants, to be more, I don't know, darker to have more believability, I guess. I definitely wanted a lot of believability near the armpit because that's just where it is darker. Just makes more sense. I'm gonna take my brown that I had, the chamois, and just darken up this area, this spot, and take the gray and just darken up this area too. So we get a bit more believability. We have some here and then some. So basically I took the brown to shade the orange, and that's because orange in the shadow turns into a brown. It's really interesting when you take a look at the difference, but you can kind of see if you look at the color wheel, and the darker tones of orange tend to just look a bit brown. So yes. Keep that in mind if you're ever wondering what to do with that. And I think I'm gonna grab the toast. This is my handy dandy trusty brown, which is a toast. And this will be really nice for these kind of spots that have a little bit of kind of shadow. Okay. Just carving out the cheek. And I'm gonna grab the W Gray 4 so that I can use it for this armor. Not armor. I keep saying armor. It's not armor. It's something else. Okay. So then I'm also using a darker gray for the cup. And then I'm going to be using a deeper green for the background. So I'm just trying to color in where I see fit. All of this grass. This grass in the background. Some of this grass in the background. We have some of these like bushes and trees. And some of these too. These will be okay. And I think with GY5 would be really nice for doing more of the background. Where is it? Ah, there she was. She was hidden in the back. Okay. And we're just going to do some of these. There are these like little, tiny little brush stroke kind of leaves that we can do. I don't use any liner here in the background because we just want to keep it blurry so that, you know, she's more likely to pop out than anything else. And it just kind of makes sense in some way. Does it kind of make sense now, a little bit? How to kind of use these as kind of in a painterly way. I'm definitely not an expert on this, but it's there's a way to do it, so it is possible. And I think, yeah, let's see here. Okay. Okay. Let us finish this part. And I think there was, I'm missing something definitely. What is the last thing that I'm missing? I don't know. I was gonna go in and actually go in with some colored pencils and do some more like face shadowing potentially. And I'm just gonna fill in, so there's like empty pockets that I'm seeing of like line work or color work that I'm seeing that I'm just gonna fill in, do some cleaning up. And also areas that I've definitely neglected, like this band, this little part too, and yeah. And there we have a good portion of her done. I do want to okay. Let's see. I think what we're gonna do is that we're gonna do what I wanted and grab some colored pencils, and we're gonna try to create some texture, a bit of interest, and I'm gonna be using a darker brown for it. So I'm using Derwent pencils that I have right here. I bought it a while ago, and I just genuinely wanted to try it out and see if it looked pleasant, if it was enjoyable to use. And I didn't really get too much use out of it, so I'm hoping that I can use it now, because originally I was trying my best to get a feel for colored pencils. But it does seem difficult to build on the colored pencils, so I'm gonna try and see if I can do something fun here. So let's see. Oh, we can get a nice kind of like a blush going. Okay, that's the more pink one. This is the more brown. Let's see if we can get some fun lines here. Perhaps get some texture going. And I'm gonna see if I can, so I've seen someone do this where they just take their colored pencil and they just line the piece with it. So I thought that might be really interesting to do. Since I've already lined it, maybe I can figure out how to use it. Okay. Oh, that's cool. That's an interesting effect of lining it with a colored pencil. Huh, I've never done that before. That's super neat. It does give off a different feel. Oh, it's way more interesting. Oh, okay. Look at me, I'm just like, oh, interesting. I've just never used colored pencils like that, so it's just kind of like a new thing for me. I also wanted to create some more depth in the folds, which I don't think I was feeling very confident with the kind of other, the darker marker. I felt like if I went too hard, it would make it look unpleasant. So I'm just going in with the colored pencil, making this area darker so that it fits better. To be honest, I'm experimenting. And I just want to try it out, see if it works. And if it works, hey, that might be a fun way for me to, you know, expand what I'm doing with markers. Okay, so we do have some texture. Perhaps the mug wasn't the best choice, but I think for this garment, it wasn't too bad. Yeah, wasn't that bad, actually. Okay. And I did line this part, so I think I might line the outside in brown. So maybe that'll be better. And I've heard that if you line the top part that looks like it's got the light coming to it in brown, it looks more believable. So we're gonna try that. Because I've never done line work in colored pencil, but I was very intrigued when I saw someone do it. So we're just having a fun experiment, you and me. Oh no, it got all over. Okay, we're gonna use, and I guess the good part is you can just erase it, so it's not too bad. Oh, the softer part. Okay, I can see why lining in the softer brown and in the softer colored pencil is not really the best, because it breaks off and it crumbles, and so it can kind of create a very different effect than what you would want it to be. So yeah, I would say it didn't turn out too terribly. I'm actually kind of turning into a fan of using colored pencils this way, actually, or like adding in some darker points with colored pencils. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna finish off using some liner finally on the areas that I'm not feeling that hot about, to create more of a contrast. But it was very interesting to use colored pencil. I might have to see if I can get so the one I'm using is a very soft version. It's a softer colored pencil, so I can see why it's kind of breaking off, giving me a little bit of problems, but overall it's not too bad. I did end up getting some tabby marks in, so that wasn't too bad. Okay, we got some whiskers, but I'm thinking this probably isn't a good idea, so I'm just gonna erase. Okay, and maybe I'll use green, actually. Maybe that would be better. So that's gonna be another experiment right now. So I'm gonna grab some green, and then use it for the background. Oh, okay. Kind of gives a different effect. It is a bit of a brighter green, but not to worry. Since it's a colored pencil, it's not too bad. I don't know if you can tell that it gave off a different effect. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it did. I think it kind of did. Okay. So, last but not least, we're gonna finish up. We're gonna finish up what we have here, and then I think we're done. I think we're basically done. I don't have any other kind of thoughts or comments. I suppose we can definitely do some highlights, but because the face is so, because the face is just, it's got a cat-like face, and the features, even in the light, kind of are mostly dictated by the whiskers and the shapes of the, can I use words? The shapes of the stripes of the tabby. So yeah, I had a fun time. I hope you had a fun time. This was a fun experiment of using colored pencil. I don't know if I would use it as much as I did now, but I'll definitely try it again. And I hope to see you guys perhaps, next week. We'll be doing something similar, perhaps, and having some fun with it. So I hope you like this one. I hope you can join me next time. And yeah, stay safe and be well. All right. Bye-bye.